embarrassing journalism encounter story traces back to TIFF, the Toronto International Film Festival a few years ago. I had this crazy idea that I pitched to the arts editor at a party, actually, that I wanted to sort of follow Bruce Springsteen around when he was in town for the opening of his documentary about one of his early albums. And so they were like, great, this would be really fun. Of course, I never expected that they would accept it. This was back when I was at the Globe and Mail newspaper. So the day it arrived that he was going to be in town, and I, hopped on my bike and I toured everywhere, and I really wanted it to be sort of a fan experience. I'm a fan myself, not a rabid fan, but I wanted to document sort of how these fans are all kind of doing the same thing that I was doing, times 10. So I had a lot of fun doing that. I was crammed on the red carpet, when he was there, flashbulbs, sort of quirky stories from people. And then, was trying desperately to figure out what parties he was going to afterwards, and failed miserably. I had no access. I wasn't an arts reporter, no experience at the time. So I, fell into bed that night just kind of super exhausted, not dejected. I still had a good enough time. I almost didn't really expect to actually ever encounter him. So the next morning, I'm moving on to my next assignment, super groggy, kind of out of it, and then I get a call from the arts editor, and he says, actually it was a she, the assistant arts editor, she came down, she called and said, you need to get down to Little Italy because, our arts reporter, their music reporter is down there at a listening party, and they're going to go to have lunch at a restaurant next door. And of course, I'm just like, I didn't think this was going to happen. I really don't want to do this now. So anyway, put on my jean jacket, get on my bike, boot down there, lock it up, and I'm just like, okay, I might actually meet Bruce Springsteen. This is crazy. And so I go in there, I kind of get confident, walk into this restaurant. He's at a big table with, 8 other people. His beautiful wife is there, all of his, music associates, and they just received their lunches. And so I'm just like, okay, the time is now. He's right there. So I walk over, and I sort of say, hey, excuse me, Mr. Springsteen. And of course he looks up, and everyone else looks up like, who is this? And I'm in my jean jacket. I look like born in the USA, terrible, crazy fan. And I'm like, I'm a reporter, the Globe and Mail. I was here to just follow your footsteps in town. I was careful not to say I'm stalking you. And then this is the worst question any journalist can ever ask. It was a non-question. It was just, so what would you like to say to your fans who are here in Toronto and Canada and are following your presence here? And then, meantime, I'm shaking his hand. He's got my hand and I have his. And he's just looking at me like, seriously, lady? Doesn't say a word, very gracious. Just shakes my hand and then goes like, essentially like, you're interrupting my lunch, go away. And so I quickly get the picture, don't have any quote, nothing, and then I get kicked out of the restaurant.